basically devoted my entire life to meditation, research, downloads, and just, I'm what you called an awakened starseed. I am a celestial, extraterrestrial, higher dimensional being that volunteered to incarnate at this time for the very reason of helping the planet, raise the frequency to the fifth dimension and up. And I'm not the only one. There's millions upon millions of starseeds that are down here at this time. I just happen to have a clear understanding from the moment that I even became conscious of it. So as a little boy, I knew I was different. I started playing with telepathy because I had the gift, I guess, to communicate with animals and plants, and I could also read people's thoughts. And one day I actually decided to entertain the concept of telekinesis because as a kid, I knew that I wasn't just a particle. I knew that I was also part of the wave, which is the ocean of energy that exists all around us. Science calls it quantum singularities or unified field, right? It's the universal intelligent field that permeates all of existence. So I knew that I was also that. And because I wasn't yet indoctrinated to, like most people have, to the idea that, we're limitless, or we have limitations, or that we're mortal, and we can't really do that stuff. I was not yet, I guess, my brain wasn't yet filtered by society, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So when I was 4 or 5, I started teleporting little toys from one room to the next. And then one day my grandmother actually walked in and she thought I was possessed by a demon and called the local priest to come throw holy water at me. And when they were there throwing holy water at me, they were saying, okay, identify yourself, demon, whoever you are. I'm like, I'm Ishmael, I'm not a demon. What are you guys talking about? There's nothing possessing me, So yeah, it was one of those things where because of that, I was actually then forced to suppress my abilities as a kid. So I was already fully, connected with my higher self, you could say. So from the age of 5 to the age of like maybe about 18, 19, I really, really just suppressed my abilities. Although at times, I would, these abilities would come about. I would start reading people's thoughts when I was a teenager, and I thought I was going crazy after so many years of suppressing it. And I was thinking to myself, why is this happening to me? Why am I picking up on other people's thoughts? This is unusual. So the whole point is this, I suppressed my abilities all throughout my childhood and throughout my teenage years up until the age of 19 when I was introduced to a meditation called Kriya Yoga. And I started practicing Kriya Yoga, which is a form of Kundalini activation. And when I started doing that, all of a sudden my mind, my uncorrupted, non-indoctrinated mind came back, that was fully connected to my higher self. And when that happened, that's when I started getting downloads again. So at the age of 19 and 20, I began on this journey to uncover and really just, I was hungry for knowledge. So I started researching things for myself. I started reading everything about philosophy, political science, metaphysics, psychology, but that wasn't enough. It wasn't until I started researching the mystic, esoteric knowledge. And when I started researching the mystic, esoteric knowledge, that's when I felt some sort of connection. And then as I was getting downloads about these galactic scenarios that were taking place, I thought I was actually going crazy because I didn't understand that back then I was still under the impression that it was just one world and there was no other, worlds out there who had their own histories. So I started researching about exopolitics and the connection to the off-world entities to validate my dreams and my downloads about these galactic wars that, I was having visions of galactic wars that were taking place in the history of our galaxy. And so I started researching it in order to confirm it. And that's when my journey began, Janine. From the age of 19, 20, no kidding, I dedicated my life to uncover really what's really going on, to see what reality really is. And I came to the realization that, we are living in a hologram, and a simulation, and that, we are part of a system of many worlds with many dimensions, and that, we are part of a multiverse. And so everything that we've ever been taught, to me, was just, I didn't, believe it. So I started writing. So my first book came about when I was 25, 26, revealing the true history of the Earth. Now, in this book, I don't really go much about off-world entities. I really just talk about the truth behind these secret societies and their influence on society. So I unraveled the two types of, societies. You have the Luciferian branch, which is the branch that the elites function under, and then you have the Melchizedek Order of Light branch, which is the branch that the White Hats have always, actually the White Hats have been around, for all of time in history. yeah, that battle between good and evil could actually be traced off-world. So I came to discover that, these brotherhoods existed, and that everything that has ever transpired in the history of the Earth was either maneuvered for good by the Brotherhood of Light or for evil by the Brotherhood of Darkness. And so that book, just kind of gives you the suppressed history of the Earth. That was called The Secret Government. I published that in around 2008, but then I came to discover that this whole battle between the white hats and the elites, the dark elites, the black nobility, whatever you want to call them, is actually about a small reflection of a greater war that's been going on in our Milky Way galaxy for millions and millions of years between two, alien groups. One of them is represented by human-like species, and the other one is represented by greys and Draco reptilians and mantis and insectoids and so on and so forth. So I came to discover that we're in the middle of a galactic war. And then as I further researched the scenario, I came to discover that that was rather an even smaller reflection of a bigger war that was going on in the entire cosmos involving many universes. And then that's when I discovered that the ultimate war is against artificial intelligence, really the ultimate evil in life and the cosmos. So yeah, so that's a quick glimpse as to how I discovered all this information. And so I just published my book about 9 months ago, my second book, Our Cosmic Origin, yep, which actually reveals the true history of the Earth as it ties into the history of the galaxy, and also revealing a bigger picture of cosmology and how our universe is part of an organized cosmos known as the Central Mother Universe. Yeah, so that's,
By the way, viewers, we're going to have links below to these books that he's talking about. I can't wait. Somebody's sending me your second book, but I didn't understand you had a first book. So that's kind of exciting. I'll have to check that one out too, because that's fascinating to me. Anything to do with sort of the dark hats and the white hats is fascinating. And I'm only calling them those corny names because we can't say the real names on YouTube. So I can't wait to read your books, actually. So I'm going to have those links below, so that no problem, people. You're going to have the links below.
A little heads up. I'm sorry to interrupt. Is that the secret government is no longer in circulation? That book revealed so much that I actually wasn't able to republish it or re-edit it. I mean, do a second edition.
Okay.
It hasn't been in circulation for over, I guess, 13 years.
Okay, so I can't probably get my hands on the first one?
No, just the second one.
Okay, well, we'll go forward then with the second one. But I was going to ask, are you in contact personally with any off-world, and I don't know what to call these energies, but sort of non-human living energies, I guess, or off-worlders? You're in personal contact with them? Yes. You want to tell us about that?
Sure, yeah. I'm very connected to a collective known as the Pleiadians. I know most of the commanders that are actually working for the liberation of our planet by name, because of the fact that in my astral form, I'm able to attend galactic meetings and really be a part of what's going on in the galaxy. And I've been doing this for many years. So not only am I connected with members of the Galactic Federation, such as those that are working with the Pleiadian Collective, the Arcturian Collective, as well as the Andromedan Council Collective, but I'm also connected with a higher group of intelligences that operate beyond the levels of our galaxy. And those are known as the meta-terrestrial races. Some of the names are known as, I guess they're called the Azurites or the Elohim. Those are the ones that are overseers of universes. And so I'm also very in touch with the Order of the Azurites, which is also known as the Order of the Emerald Covenant as well.
Wow. So there's a really big I guess, debate that goes on in truther communities right now. And let me know if you don't want to touch on this, but the debate is between flat Earth and round Earth. And I'll just say my interpretation by looking at the cards, I'm getting it's neither. And it's more of a, like you're calling things multiverse, right? It feels more energetic and it doesn't feel like a shape. So when I look at the cards, I don't feel like it's either of those things. I feel like it's literally, there was a drawing I saw that almost looked like it was several things all at once. Is any of that making sense? How do you feel about things like that? Do you have a personal opinion about the shape of the Earth?
Yes, it's exactly, the Earth is the shape of the galaxy and the universe. It's a toroidal field. It looks like a funnel in the middle, spinning energy. That's why it's spinning on its axis. And then it looks like it's coming like that, from the center. So it's a toroidal field, just like what we are. We're toroidal fields as well, which explains the light body activation of the Merkaba. So
Wow. Okay, I just came to that. I was doing we were doing a look at it on a pay-per-view with Jean-Claude recently, and he showed a picture of that, and right away my intuition went, that's it. It had the funnel in the middle. It's like what you're describing. Yeah, it's not, so that's going to be interesting for the flat earthers and the round earthers. And I had that feeling for a really long time. That's too simplified. It's round, it's flat, doesn't make sense to me. And there were too many weird things about either way, didn't make a lot of sense. So I'm glad you cleared that up for us.
Hey, I'm sorry, I have the leaf blower guys outside doing.
Oh yeah, that's always fun when you got the people doing the yard work right outside the window. I've had that happen. It's all good. It's all good. Listen, I really wanted to know what you thought about what's going on right now, like this last 3 years. And I know this has been going on in that interview we watched with you and Nicholas Veniamin. You were talking about billions of years, I think you said. So we know this has been going on, this war, this spiritual war against good and evil, that sort of thing. But the last 3 years, it seems to have really ramped up, or a lot of people just really clued in maybe. So what's your version of what's been going on here in the last 3 years?
What's taking place in the last 3 years is the final conflict between good and evil, but on all levels of reality. So as I mentioned in Nicholas's interview, this whole war began about 900 billion years ago. And it didn't even originate in our local universe, which is part of the 12th creation. It actually originated within the 11th creation in a universe that went rogue after it developed the AI. That became known as the Old Empire. So we are part of 12 creations. So one of the things that I reveal in my book is that our Earth, our galaxy, and our local universe hangs within the 12th creation. So that's why everything is like in the magic number of 12. You have the 12 signs of the zodiac, you have the 12 chakras, the 12 strands of DNA, the 12 tribes of Israel, so forth and so on. So we're part of that creation. So when this entity evolved, when this entity destroyed the old universe and became the old empire, they figured out a way to actually access other universes and infiltrate. So each universe is known as its own reality. So just how there is, multiple dimensions, densities, and worlds in multiple universes. Well, it's because each universe has its own reality and its own densities and its own dimensions and its own, laws of physics. So this war broke out then, and what happened was, in order to secure the 12 dimensional gates that lead to the mother central universe, the central race of Havana, which is the always existing race that has always existed, and they are our progenitor race, they are our ultimate ancestors. At the same time, they are us in the future. So it's kind of weird how it all ties in a sense where we're all, we are them and they are us. Yeah. So if it wasn't for them blocking off the 12th dimension when they were trying to blow up the star planet known as Arimatina. So a quick description of Arimatina. Okay, so the Earth, there's 5 different adjacent versions of the Earth. You have Earth that exists here in the 3rd dimension. And then you have Earth that exists in the 5th dimension known as Tara. And then you have Earth that exists in the 8th dimension known as Gaia. And then you have the Earth that exists in the 12th dimensions known as Arimatina. And then finally you have the original eternal Earth known as Sophia, which exists in the 15th dimension. And that's kind of relates to the eternal spheres of the mother universe. So this AI, rogue, invasive AI was trying to get to those levels, because they knew that if they got to those levels, they would destroy all of life. So what the central race did, in an effort to preserve the organic way of life and the multiverse from this AI, is they created a plan where many universes came into council and said the only way to counter attack or counter defend and defeat cosmic virus, as it's called in the multiverse, is by combining all the energetic essences of all the celestial races in all the universes and putting them into one genome. So that initiated what became known as the Great Intergalactic Experiment, and Earth was the place for that. So the Earth is like a living cosmic library, actually, Janine, containing all of the flora, fauna, and seedings from across the entire multiverse in one spot. So that's why Earth became the most special and unique, and in essence, the most coveted planet in the multiverse. Because it's got the ultimate. Because everything is data, as you know, everything is part of the simulation. We live in a 12th dimensional simulated matrix, and we're just existing in the third aspect of that, third level of dimension of that, when there's like others. But because everything is a hologram in the sense where the physical universes are a manifestation of the unmanifest, which is the eternal mind of God. They had to secure. I guess. Hold on, I lost my train of thought. All this information is coming at once. Okay, so because everything is a hologram, they try to secure the organic way of life by putting all these energies into one spot. So we became the solution for that. And so what started off as many races coming together, it eventually became all these different races contributed their DNA into 100 races, and then 100 races into 24 races, and then those 24 races into 12 races, and then from those 12 races, they gave us their DNA to make us. So that's what makes us the most advanced, capable of evolving beyond any species in the history of the multiverse. We are, that's how powerful we are. So to the cosmic community, we're considered royalty, we're considered the hope of the universe, and we're also considered, the newfound powers and the new guardians. Once we activate the dormant DNA, we're going to be the new guardians of the many realms and universes. Mm-hmm. So that's the reason why this AI is after us, because in order for that AI to go past the 12th dimension, they have to access our genome. And that's the reason why that correlates to what's happening here in our planet with the, stuff that they're giving the people, the Jabadoozers, those that are getting the Jabadoos are part of, they're trying to change and modify their genetics and at the same time assimilate their genetics so that this AI could eventually reach past the 12th dimension into the eternal spheres. So what's happening right now is just a final, a final play out of this cosmic war that's been going on for billions of years. Mm-hmm. And because the future and the past are taking place at the same time, from what I understand is that since there's a version of us after the activation of our dormant DNA that went on to become, a super godlike humans, we become, super, super, super powerful. And so because we did win that war against the AI, that is now reflecting on what happens here with the defeat of the dark hats by the white hats and the Earth Alliance. So what started off as a war in the multiverse has gradually been cleansed by the forces of good, narrowing that battle down just to what we call the hub of all existence, because the Earth is the hub. It's at the center of all probable timelines. This is where they all converge, based on my understanding, yeah.
Wow, there's that word convergence. That's a big word these days. It seems to me that a lot of the information we're getting from who's considered the white hats is that this has already been won and we're watching it play out almost like a movie. So you're agreeing with that sort of version of reality, or do you think there's still a lot that hasn't been resolved? Where does it sit, do you think?
So the way the galactics work is they always begin to clean house from the highest levels of reality and then down. So because it started cleaning house from the 12th dimension all the way down to the 5th dimension, which ended the galactic wars in our favor, by the way, thanks to our super soldiers. Eventually now that's reaching our world. So we're just waiting for that final play out. So what started off as a house cleansing in the multiverse is now coming to fruition here in our world. So that's going to come about when the EBS kicks in and the people of the Earth begin to understand what's been really going on, which is going to come as a shocker to them.
Yeah.
Due to the heavy programming. And then that's going to lead to, the implementation of, Gesera, a type of world structure system that benefits all humanity. And then in turn, that's going to lead to first contact with the benevolent star races that are, that have been assisting us from behind the scenes. So that's where this is heading, actually, which is good news. Yeah.
So a lot of those things that a lot of people say sound like hopeism or hopeism or whatever, could actually be things realistic to look forward to.
Absolutely.
And the funny thing is, I've been getting that consistently in the cards, and I get a lot of flack for it. Everybody thinks I'm being way too optimistic, but it's not that I'm saying sit on your laurels and just sit back. There's lessons to learn. Everybody individually needs to rise their vibration. That's just my opinion. We all need to put our energies and focus our energies in a positive future. That's my opinion is, and I agreed with what you said on Nicholas Veniamin. I think you were saying something about daily meditation. You used that word, I think, where you stay in the present moment. And that's the best place to stay because we're co-creating our future basically with presence. And I don't know, you probably have a better way to say it. How would you say that? What's our job right now, humans right now?
Our job is to just stay focused in your presence, because where energy goes, that's where the universe materializes your thoughts, because our thoughts are co-creating our reality at the same, simultaneously with the universe. Yeah. So in essence, whenever you put your consciousness in the presence, not only are you affecting your current circumstances around you in a positive way, but you're also affecting versions of yourselves, and then you're also affecting the past. So yeah, it's very important that people stay in the presence, because that's how we create the ultimate timeline that we want to end up in.
Right. Now, for the heck of it, I want to ask, what's your opinion of Mr. T, I call him, it's his birthday today, so Trump's input here. Seems like he has an important role, or he's aligned with the White Hats. That's certainly what I'm getting, but if you disagree, let us know. What are your feelings on Mr. T?
Mr. T is definitely part of the alliance, as well as the Russian president. They're working together from behind the scenes, by the way, and so he's definitely not only a White Hat, but he's part of the bloodline that is associated with the White Hat. See, one of the things that I revealed in my first book, and as to why they didn't let me republish it or redo it, do it in addition, a second edition, was because of the fact that I did associate a certain bloodline with both, the dark elites and the White Hats, going back to Abraham and the original Israelites. Well, the original Israelites were, the progenitors of the White Hats. That's where, we had King David, Solomon, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and then they also had children, and then later those children were protected by the Knights of the Temple, which, by the way, the Da Vinci Code is more of a documentary. There's a lot of truth. So that's where we get the origin of the White Hats. The White Hats have always been around. So Trump is part of that bloodline, as well as JF Kennedy Jr. And I think even Abraham Lincoln and a few other generals, including General Flynn, they're all related. So that's why they're all working together. And so definitely Mr. T is being very instrumental in the restoration of our republic as we proclaim our second American Revolution, because that's what's happening right now. Yeah, there are two coexisting governments. There is the rightful constitutional republic that is, that has the support of the military, and then there's the fake, a corrupted, government that stole the election, right? So it's about to take place where, the righteous government is about to expose, all the deception that's been going on and really drain the swamp. So from what I understand, we're about a little over 3/4 in draining the swamp. So they're almost at that finish line where they're about to be checkmated. And when they are, that's when everything's going to, as he says, we're going to be entering the storm.
Yeah. Wow. So when you say that, if we're 3/4 in, I know timelines are silly to talk about, but are you thinking sometime in the next year, or are we talking years from now? Do you think we could kind of get more of a glimpse behind the curtain here, understanding what's really been going on for the general public? Because us truthers and people watching videos like this and people chatting on videos like this, we know some of it anyway, or we're piecing it together, but there's a whole lot of humans out there who have no clue, it seems. So what do you think timeline wise, or do you even want to take a stab at it?
Well, according to my information, Galactics are telling me that it's going to happen this year, before the end of the year. It could happen this summer. And so it's something to be prepared for, because we are getting about 2 weeks in supply everything when all the arrests are taking place. So it's going to be interesting all over.
Wow. Well, I gotta say, I am prepared, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's like, I'm so happy, even if it looks really scary, like everybody says. said, this year anyway. Wow. So the solar flash is going to change or get us back in touch with our true potential. Is that kind of I'm taking a stab at it there, but that's what I heard you say somehow.
Yes, we're going to be transformed into the meta humans organically without merging with the tech. So there's two versions of 3.0 that is going to emerge. On the positive setting timeline is going to be those that do it through the spiritual work, through the inner healing, the meditation, and the constant focus, like you mentioned in the cards, the constant focus to become better and more advanced and expand our consciousness. Those are doing it, organically. And then there's going to be those that are going to choose a transhumanist path. And they're going to unfortunately merge with the tech. Yeah, so that's when also the timeline split's going to take place. So, that's kind of the bifurcation of the Earth. One going up into the dimensions and the other one actually going into a further simulation that is going to be indistinguishable between this reality and a video game. That's how that simulation is going to be. It's going to be a digital type. Yeah.
Okay, count me out of that one, I'll tell you. That does not sound appealing.
Yeah, but the thing is that at the end of 1,000 years, those that went into the transhumanist path become very powerful cyborgs. And then, of course, there's going to be one final clash with those that chose the transhumanist path between us and them. And then that's going to also determine, again, the direction that the multiverse takes as a result of that.
So that's why they say peace for 1,000 years, but they put that cap on it.
Yeah.
Wow. I love how you pull it together. Like, again, I'm going to have to rewatch this myself and, take notes, because I find you really easy to understand and follow, which I'm a Taurus, so I can be a bit slow, to be honest. And a lot of my viewers will agree. I forget names, words, but I get it more energetically because I'm, an intuitive for a living. So I get it more intuitively. First of all, I knew right away you were telling your truth, and we're largely getting it better than a lot of people. So I gravitated right away to your interview. And I always, as soon as I see somebody, I usually pick up what I'm dealing with intuitively. So I thank you so much for bringing your information and sharing it with the world. We so need to hear this. So we're gonna need the star seeds. We're gonna need people like yourself sharing what they know, because we're trying to piece this together. And there's so many people wanting to see the truth now, which is brilliant. I mean, I got 100,000 people potentially watching on a channel like this. So you gotta think, wow. And then on my other channel, I got 161 or something like that. So you gotta think there are people looking for truth, and there's so many great truthers out there bringing it. I'm just really glad you decided to come out of your hermitage.
For yourself. Right now. And I've been a hermit for like maybe 25 years, from the age of 20 to 22.
Yeah, well, we're glad you're coming out a little bit. So happy to have you on the show. And I just want to thank you again. Is there anything you want to tell the viewing audience before we say goodbye here?
Yeah, I'm actually, speaking of starseeds, one of my mission purpose here is to help awaken starseeds to the starseed mission of being, the saviors of the multiverse. So one of the things that I do is I started, I'm going to be teaching an online course, a starseed cosmology course, that will reveal the detailed galactic history of our galaxy, and it's also the different star races that exist, to see what they identify with. And I'm also going to give them tools and techniques and methods, such as meditations that are going to help them activate the galactic self, multi-dimensional consciousness. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be doing in the next few weeks. And I believe I gave you a link to that for those that are interested in the class. It's going to be mind-blowing, but again, it's also very transformative. You won't be the same ever taking this class. Another thing I wanted to mention is that the other day when I saw you were reading your cards and you were verifying my information that I read with Nicholas, one of the things that you read was that Samana, it's actually Samana, he was actually the overseer of